Forget Socrates, Plato, and all those prissy dudes in their togas. We're talking about the real OG, the ultimate philosopher of the streets. The one and only Diogenes the Cynic. Some might call him crazy, but he had Alexander the Great, the mightiest dude around, stepping aside for some sunshine. Talk about roasting the king on an open fire. Was he a little out there? Absolutely. But beneath the barrel and the theatrics, there was a message. Live authentically, question everything, and don't let anyone dim your light. This dude wasn't your average dusty academic type. No, he was a 𝐒𝐮𝐤𝐸𝐤, a living, breathing middle finger to society's expectations. Trust me, you'll get a good laugh out of this video. But was Diogenes really crazy? No, beneath the crazy act, Diogenes had some serious wisdom to drop. He was the king of counterculture, the ultimate minimalist, and a master of living life on your own terms. So buckle up, because we're diving into the mind of the craziest, most badass philosopher who ever walked the earth. Cynicism for the modern world. Diogenes didn't adhere to the conventions of society. Rather, he preferred to follow his inner voice. Once, Diogenes stood outside a brothel shouting, "A beautiful whore is like poisoned honey! A beautiful whore is like poisoned honey!" Then the men entering the brothel threw him a coin or two to shut him up. Eventually, Diogenes had collected enough money, and he too went into the brothel. Diogenes was the philosopher who turned life into a stand-up routine. I'll share more of his encounter later in this video. Diogenes' world wasn't about whining. It was about seeing through the BS, rejecting artificiality, and embracing a simple, natural life. Forget fancy clothes and possessions, Diogenes said. All you need is a clear head, a strong mind, and maybe a well-placed barrel. He believed true freedom came from letting go of desires and living authentically, even if it meant living like a dog in the street. Diogenes versus the world. And oh boy, did he have some encounters. He once walked into a fancy feast with his own lentil soup, proving that a good, simple meal is worth more than a plate full of gold. He saw a philosopher flaunting his beard and stuck feathers on his own chin, saying, "Hey, let's not let your beard steal all the wisdom." He even confronted Alexander the Great, the biggest badass of his time, telling him to move aside because he was blocking his sun. Diogenes, the philosopher who turned life into a stand-up routine. Imagine Socrates, but instead of sipping hemlock, he's rolling around in a barrel, heckling pigeons, and using public spaces as his personal urinal. That's Diogenes, the cynic philosopher who turned life into a one-man show of hilarious absurdity. Encounter 1. Plato's bird-brain definition. Plato, the fancy pants of philosophy, declares man a featherless biped. Diogenes, ever the jester, plucks a chicken, struts around, and declares, "Behold Plato's man!" It's like a live-action cartoon, poking fun at the limitations of language and questioning the very essence of what it means to be human. Encounter 2. The Diogenes versus Zeus showdown. Visiting Corinth, Diogenes spotted a lavish temple dedicated to Zeus. Undeterred by the sacred space, he promptly urinated on the base of the statue. His explanation? Here's Diogenes' offering to Zeus. This audacious act challenged religious authority and questioned the need for extravagant displays of devotion. Encounter 3. The funeral feast and the celebration of life. Diogenes, knowing his death was near, organized a feast for his friends. When asked why celebrate death, he replied, "Why wait? Let's enjoy life while we still have it." This unconventional approach to death challenged societal mourning rituals and emphasized the importance of living life to the fullest until the very end. Encounter 4. Who cares? A group of people came to ask him how he wanted to be buried. He answered that he wanted his body to be thrown outside the city walls so wild animals could feast on it. The people insisted if that was what he really wanted, and if it didn't bother him. So Diogenes said, "Okay, then toss my body outside and give me a big stick so I can fight off the wolves." The people asked, "But how can you fight off wolves with a stick? You'll be dead." To which he answered, "If I'm dead, what do I care what you do with my body?" His message was, why care about things? Encounter 5. Dead humor. Diogenes was asked, what is the difference between life and death? No difference. Well then, why do you remain in this life? Because there is no difference. Diogenes' enigmatic response, there is no difference, on the surface seems nihilistic, but it holds a deeper wisdom about living life authentically. His greatest hits. Now, Diogenes wasn't one for dry lectures and dusty tomes. He was a philosopher of the streets, a walking, talking, barrel-dwelling meme generator. Let's recap some of his greatest hits. The chicken debacle, when Plato defined a man as a featherless biped, Diogenes plucked a chicken, waltzed into Plato's academy, and declared, "Behold, a man!" Plato, ever the gentleman, promptly added, with broad, flat nails, to his definition. The search for a true king. Diogenes, the eternal seeker of truth, wandered the streets with a lantern in broad daylight, not because he was blind, but because he was searching for a true king, someone who lived virtuously and didn't succumb to societal pressures. Spoiler alert, he never found one. The 𝐒𝐮𝐤𝐿 Legacy. Diogenes might seem like a kook, but his message is timeless. In a world obsessed with appearances and chasing the next big thing, he reminds us that true happiness comes from within. He teaches us to question everything, to embrace simplicity, and to live life on our own terms. He may be gone, but his spirit of rebellion and his quest for truth still resonate with us today. So next time you feel stuck in the rat race, remember Diogenes, the ultimate 𝐒𝐮𝐤𝐿. Grab a barrel, ditch the fancy stuff, and start living life on your own terms. Who knows, you might just find the freedom and happiness you've been searching for. Remember, the world needs more Diogenes. So go out there, be the 𝐒𝐮𝐤𝐿 you were meant to be, and let your freak flag fly. In a recent video, we discussed a philosophy that questions reality. Are people around you real? Click here.